Good morning, everyone. My name is Soubry. I'm head of product with Ingenico ePayments, and today I will talk about the secrets to peak sales success. So, we know it all: Black Friday, Singles Day, Easter sales, summer sales. It looks like the the whole calendar is based on the shopping festival, basically. And it does not necessarily need to be about discounts all the time. We actually, with Ingenico, we look at how can we drive sales success for merchants without losing out on margin. And really, how can we drive our merchant success? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. How can we drive our merchants' sales success in a competitive way, in a cost-effective way? Actually, let me tell you a very quick word about Ingenico, who we are. Ingenico is a global leader in seamless payments. We drive commerce across different channels. So we have in-store solutions, online solutions, mobile solutions, and so on and so forth. And we're basically a recognized brand for using payment technology to enable merchants, small local businesses, up to major retail brands grow cross-border and provide simple and intuitive shopping experiences. But enough about us. Let's look at, okay, what tips and tricks can we provide for merchants to really drive their peak sales moments in their different markets. First of all, you can create your own peak sales moments. And again, as discussed, it's not always about discounts. Actually, as a merchant and as a shopper, we see that more and more customers are not looking at price as a main feature, as a main attribute for online sales campaigns, but they're looking more and more also like at differentiating through unique products. They're looking for unique access to products. They're looking for referral bonuses. Sometimes in a sales campaign, they're looking at, can I have an extended return period? Can I have free next day deliveries? Instead of only looking at the price as the main benefit of a sales campaign. And secondly, we know again, like we have the peak sales moments of the Black Fridays, of the Cyber Mondays, and so on and so forth. But we see actually very successful brands, they look at their own industry, at their own brand of like, what can we do to create our own peak sales moments? And I think the Star Wars franchise did an excellent job in using May the 4th as a way to leverage their merchandise and to really drive sales for their business at a specific day in May, and they really own that day in the online community. But you can also look at Walk to Work Day or leverage World Animal Day or Earth Day and so on and so forth to really look at, for your own brand, what is really things that can drive the difference and create that peak sales moment. Secondly, the world has gone mobile. E-commerce, I went too fast. E-commerce is a quite different place today than it was a couple of years ago. We used to have the in-store versus the online website and so on, but we actually see that more and more the desktop took place for m-commerce, it became social commerce, we're now even evolving towards conversational commerce with chatbots and so on and so forth. And we actually see that with peak sales moments, people really like to buy on the go, on the fly. And it's really driven by smartphones in the first place, but also through tablets in the second phase. And you can consider that as becoming more and more popular in the future. So not only does your e-commerce and your payment technology need to support the mobile trends, but also your campaigns and the moments that you drive your sales campaign can also be adapted to, okay, where do people shop at which moment of the day? From a payment technology perspective, first of all, make sure that your website is responsive, make sure that your payment pages are responsive, adapted to smartphones and so on and so forth. But there's also some smart tips and tricks that you can leverage, such as Remember Me functionality, where basically your card details of the shopper are stored in a convenient way. So if they return to the same website of your brand on a later stage, they don't need to re-enter their payment details over and over again. And there's quite plenty of tricks that can be leveraged to support the mobile commerce in a more intuitive way. As a third takeaway, it's go cross-border. And what is key with cross-border is, if we look at, okay, you create your own peak sales moments within the UK, within your local market, and so on and so forth. But actually, Europe, we have centuries of traditions, local cultures, and so on. And that's not any different in the payment space. And this chart here that you see on the screen is actually quite telling. If you look at the UK, it's a very card-driven market. You see it, 62% of the market is really focusing on cards. And then there's a big share of wallets, PayPal, and so on and so forth. But if you go a bit beyond the local UK market, you see, for example, in the Netherlands, 65% of shoppers, they're actually expecting to pay with Ideal, which is their preferred payment method, their preferred scheme in that market. And it goes even so far that a big share of Dutch shoppers, they don't even have a credit card. So if you only offer the typical UK payment methods, cards, PayPal, and so on, it might be that your shopper cannot even pay on the website that you're dealing with. So localization is really key if you want to reach additional audiences for your peak sales moment outside of your domestic market. And in addition, we have a case study actually with a customer of ours, Predator Nutrition. So it's a UK-based entrepreneur basically that launched Predator Nutrition. It's a fitness and food supplement brand. He launched it in 2009 when business was really good and the Olympics were coming up, so everybody got a bit sporty and so on and so forth. But over time, the industry became a bit more competitive. The industry was consolidating for food supplements, and they really started optimizing their business. So on one side, they expanded cross-border to reach more customers, but more and more they got faced with a decline transactions basically, and mostly from shoppers that are outside of their UK markets. And it was just always the same message coming back: do not honor. The transaction was declined for that specific, not very telling reason. So they started working with us, and we basically looked at how can we help this business grow in a solid way cross-border. On one side, with offering the different payment methods, but on the second side, we also looked at how can we increase the payment acceptance rate. And the payment acceptance rate is basically once a shopper clicks on the pay button, does the transaction get accepted by the acquiring company, the merchant services provider, yes or no? And there's actually a lot of optimizations that you can do to really make those numbers going up. So as you could see here, for example, compared to the averages that we see in the market, we're really lifting up the conversion in our backend systems for Visa, MasterCard, but the same for the other payment methods that you see in the market. So there's a lot of things that you can do to not only get customers to your website for your peak sales moments, but also convert them more effectively once they're there and once they actually made the buying decisions and click on the pay button. Now, fourth is all about handling the volume. We're living in a world that is driven by social influence and so on. And the moments, the moments that create those peak sales events are just increasingly getting traction in a rapid pace. Things that you haven't heard about a couple of hours ago, a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago can all of a sudden become the next big thing that people start discussing, that people start loving, that people start buying, and that ultimately gets sold out. And it used to be the case centuries ago with the Dutch going crazy about tulips. A couple of years ago, it was the dress, and with the debate, is it light blue, is it gold, and so on and so forth. It really drove peak sales moments for specific retail brands that had such products in store. And you could see here actually this little boy, Ryan, he's the best-selling, the most earning YouTuber of last year, thanks to his reviews of toys. So really, if you're a merchant and you're looking for peak sales success, make sure that you actually are prepared to scale as well, that not only your payment solution can scale, but that also your inventory, your supply chain, and so on, your whole ecosystem of your business is prepared to actually get that extra mile very quickly. As a fifth takeaway, and actually my favorite, is how can you stand out from the crowd? And standing out from the crowd is like there's different options that you can apply, right? There's just your assortment, your pricing, your messaging, your communication, your branding, and so on. But there's also payment technology that can help with that. And we delivered some solutions to that. One solution that you see here on the screen is gamification. So basically, instead of just offering 10% discount to all of your products on your website, we offer the chance to shoppers to get a 1 in 10 baskets chance to win back your whole purchase amount. And how does it work? Basically, you have a campaign on your website. And then once you go on the payment page, you just pay as a regular customer. And then at the confirmation page, once the payment is successful, you can play a little game actually. It can be a scratch game where you can win your basket back. And from there, we automatically reimburse the customer with the payment details that we have at hand. So on one side, it helps increasing the basket size because shoppers, they can look at, okay, I might win everything back, but it also increases the likeliness to actually have a shopper proceeding with the purchase in the first place. A second solution that we're increasingly developing, and I mentioned before the world is going mobile, is chatbots. I think the use of WhatsApp, of Messenger, and so on is becoming increasingly popular, and I don't think that's something surprising to you. But what is surprising is actually that many brands, such as Kayak, Sephora, like a lot of brands are investing in good chatbots to deliver like advice and like a first discovery to their shoppers. But there's very little brands that actually go the extra mile and complete the transaction when the buyer is really like at the point of purchasing. So what we did here is basically, and it's an example for a travel company that we're working with. Basically, you select your hotel. Okay, do you want a standard room, a luxury room? Do you want a garden view, ocean view, whatever? We propose some rooms and like some bungalows that are available. You can add them to your cart, and then basically, if you decide to check out, it's the same payment page that we often have that is popping up. So you don't need to enter your credit card details within the screen, within the chat app, but basically you have the trusted, relatable payment pages that you're used to deal with. And then the payment is going through, the transaction happened, and so on. So as a summary, first of all, it's not only about discounts. You can really create your own peak sales moments and really own those moments for your specific business, for your specific industry. Second, make sure that your experience is optimized for mobile, especially when it's about peak sales moments. People are not necessarily sitting behind a desktop computer. They're purchasing on the go, they're purchasing while they're commuting, and so on and so forth. Go cross-border. Business is happening locally, but there's also like a lot of opportunities beyond your core markets. Make sure that you can handle the volume. Once you get the traffic, once you get the purchases in, make sure that you can follow up on the promise as well. And then ultimately stand out from the crowd. We have a nice little quiz actually at our booth about know your cross-border and know your European traditions. And it's a very like fun little quiz that is happening at booth H76. And then you can win like an event kit, basically, that is an event survival kit to pass through the conference. And if you're interested, we have another speaking slot at 11:40. Taking place at the international stage at the other side of the hall. And of course, you can always come talk to us at booth H76 or meet with us in person. Thank you very much for your attention.